If you're a mid-level to C-suite leader who wants to own your growth and figure out your next small, brave move to achieve your leadership goals, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Small Brave Moves podcast, a weekly deep dive on how to be braver in leadership and in life for exceptional results. I'm your host, Nicole Bianchi, bestselling author, certified master executive coach, NSA certified speaking professional, chief bravery officer, and tough talk expert. If you're ready to become a better, braver, and more authentic leader, let's dive in. Welcome back to the Small Brave Moves podcast. Before we dive in today, I want to invite you just to slow down with me for just a second. So if you're listening to this while you're multitasking, maybe you're driving, folding laundry, answering emails, holding that world together, this episode is for that version of you. So I want you to take one breath. Just one. Because what I want to talk to you today about isn't another thing to fix or optimize or even just push through. It's about something much quieter and much heavier. Overfunctioning. And if that word immediately makes you think, oh, this is about other people, well, just stay with me for a moment. Because leaders who need this conversation the most are usually the ones who don't realize they're actually doing it. Here's what I see all of the time with high-performing leaders, especially women. You don't burn out because you're not capable. You burn out because you are. You step in when things get messy. You smooth things over so that no one has to feel uncomfortable. You think 3 steps ahead so problems just don't land on anybody else's desk. And you're carrying an emotional weight. Think about your team stress, unspoken tension, expectations, because you can. And from the outside, well, it looks like leadership. But on the inside, it feels like something else entirely. It feels heavy. It feels lonely. And it feels like you're always on, even when no one's asking you to be. And here's the part that's hard to admit out loud. Overfunctioning often works until it doesn't. Until your energy starts leaking. Until your patience is shorter than you want it to be. Until you feel a quiet resentment that surprises you because this is the work you care so much about. So I want to say this gently and clearly. Overfunctioning is not a character flaw. It's usually a learned survival strategy. And for many leaders, especially women, it once kept you safe. It earned trust. It built credibility. It made you invaluable. But what protected you in one season can exhaust you in the next. And the signs aren't dramatic, they're subtle. You might notice that you're holding things together that wouldn't actually fall apart if you just stepped back. You might notice that people rely on you more than they even really need to. And you might notice that you're always busy, but somehow avoiding the one move or conversation that would actually change things for you. You might notice that leadership doesn't feel expansive anymore. It feels tight. And over time, there's a cost. Now, that's not just to your calendar, but actually to your clarity, your presence, your joy. I see leaders lose their sense of self because they're constantly managing everyone else's experience, everyone else's joy. I see them question their confidence because they're exhausted, not because they're not incapable. And I see something else too, something most people just do not talk about. When you overfunction, you don't just carry too much. You're unintentionally teaching others not to rise. And that's not what you want either. You want capable, empowered teams. You want shared ownership. You want leadership that feels sustainable, which brings me to something I think we misunderstand all of the time. Leading with flow and ease does not mean caring less. It doesn't mean lowering your standards. And it doesn't mean checking out. It actually means releasing what was never yours to carry in the first place. It means letting people struggle enough to grow. It means allowing discomfort without rushing to fix it. And it means trusting that leadership doesn't require control to be effective. And this is where bravery comes in, because control feels like safety and overfunctioning feels responsible. And slowing down, well, that feels risky, doesn't it? But letting go asks you to sit with the uncertainty, to tolerate that discomfort, to trust yourself and others in a deeper way. And that's not weakness, that's courage. And it's exactly why I created the Overfunctioning Leader Reset workbook. So, this workbook is just not another thing to do. It's not another productivity tool, but it's a pause on purpose. So I want you to think about this workbook helping you slow down long enough to actually see where you're overfunctioning without beating yourself up for it. So it helps you separate what's truly yours to carry from what you've been holding out of habit, fear, or responsibility that quietly turned into control. And when leaders do this, something shifts. And as an executive coach to high performing senior leaders in Fortune 500 companies, I've seen it. You will start sleeping better because your nervous system isn't always on this high alert. You'll be less reactive and much more intentional. You'll stop saying yes automatically and start choosing with clarity instead of guilt. So, the Overfunctioning Leader Reset Workbook will help you release what you can't control, because so much of overfunctioning is actually rooted in belief that if you just hold on to everything together so tightly enough that nothing will fall apart. And when you release what isn't yours to carry, you'll notice you're less emotionally drained at the end of the day. You'll stop replaying conversations in your head, and you'll just trust yourself so much more and seek less external validation. You'll lead with steadiness instead of urgency, because leading bravely doesn't mean making bigger, louder moves. It means choosing one small, brave move that brings you back into alignment with yourself and who you're meant to be. Maybe it's finally having the conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's setting a boundary you've been hinting at instead of actually naming. Maybe it's letting someone else own a decision, even if they don't do it exactly the way you would. So, this workbook guides you to identify that move and commit to it intentionally, not impulsively, because research shows that nearly 60% of leaders report feeling burned out, and women leaders experience it at a significantly higher rate, not because they're less capable, but because they're more likely to take an emotional labor and invisible work that just never shows up on the job description. When leaders stop overfunctioning, they don't lose effectiveness, they gain sustainability. And the ripple effect of that is real. Because when you lead from calm instead of control, everyone around you feels it. So, if this episode felt like it was speaking directly to you, I want you to take that as information, not pressure, but something worth exploring more. Your next small brave move is really simple. Download the free Overfunctioning Leader Reset Workbook. So give yourself permission to just pause before burnout forces you to, and trust that clarity, ease, and courage are waiting on the other side of this level of awareness. You'll find the link to download the workbook in the show notes. This is the last thing I'll leave you with. Leadership was never meant to felt this heavy. And you don't have to carry it all by yourself. We think we do, but we don't. And sometimes the bravest move is just choosing flow over force and letting yourself lead from there. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to yourself. And until next time, keep making those small, brave moves.
Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Small Brave Moves podcast. If you're wanting to take this work even deeper, I'm here to help. From engaging in inspirational keynote speeches to transformational coaching and workshops for leaders and teams, page-turning books, online courses, and enlightening leadership development retreats. There are so many ways that we can work together to take your leadership to the next level. For more information, check out the show notes, and let's do this together, one small brave move at a time. See you next week.